The Real Mccoys, starring Walter Brennan, created by Irving Pincus.
Want you to meet the family known as the Real Mccoys. That's Grandpappy Amos, the head of the clan. He roars like a lion, but he's gentle as a lamb. And now here's Luke, who beams with joy since he may take Miss Luke McCoy. From West Virginia they came to stay in sunny California. Oh, Grandpappy Amos and the girls and the boys of the family known as the Real McCoys.
You sure do look pretty, Sugar.
Oh, Grandpa, you like this dress?
I ain't got nothing personal against it. What you all decked out for? Tomorrow's church day.
Well, I'm going to a meeting down at the school. We're making the plans to decorate the auditorium for Veterans Day. But bye now. See you later.
Bye, Sugar. Why is it that when one and two women get together, even if it's just to discuss the time of day, they gotta try and outdeck each other? Oh, darn women. Spend more time decorating the auditorium than be better off than decorating themselves.
Why are you so riled up, Grandpa? All she's doing is going down to school. Oh, I get it. Veterans Day's coming up again.
Veterans Day ain't got nothing to do with it.
Oh, hogwash. You start growling every year at this time just because you never was one.
Well, I tried, and the government wouldn't let me in. They said I was a farmer, and farming is important.
Yeah.
Right. I help feed the soldiers, but nobody plays bands and makes speeches on Stomach Day.
Grandpa, how many times have I got to tell you? You did your part. You got just as much right to hum the Star-Spangled Banner as anybody. Now, why don't you lean back and just simmer down?
Oh.
My grandpa. That's a real French song. And he's got medals, too.
For singing?
No, for fighting in the First World War.
Well, my pa got one for fighting in the Second World War. Hey, little Luke, what did your family do? Fight. What else? All McCoys are fighters. Hey, what was your brother Luke? Was he in the Army or the Navy? Well, he was too young to get in.
What about your grandpa? What'd he do?
He never did tell me, but I know why. He's not one to brag. Grandpa, I didn't see you on the porch. Grandpa, which war was you in?
Well,
Oh, were you a pilot in the last one, Mr. McCoy?
No, I was a mite old.
To be a pilot?
No, to get in.
Tell me what you do in World War I.
Well, in that one, I had special assignments.
Spy?
You know, the government asked me to keep the boys full of victuals, you see. You heard it said that the army moves on its stomach, ain't you?
You see, my grandpa was in charge of food. Mess sergeant overseas.
No, farmer, West Virginia.
You mean he stayed home during the war, Mr. McCoy? Don't you say that about my grandpa.
Now, hold on, little. You know, in a war, everybody has something to do in their own special way, you see. Some of them carries guns, and some of them plants potatoes. Hey, boys, wait. Come back here. You didn't go back far enough. Nobody asked me about the Spanish-American War.
Gee, Grandpa, we're studying that in school. Were you really in the Spanish-American War?
Well, I ain't one to talk.
Were you with the Rough Riders, Mr. McCoy?
With the who? Oh, the Rough Riders. Yeah, they were a pretty rough bunch, now that I come to think about it.
And did you store up San Juan Hill?
Well, after all, that hill was in the way, and I had to get me on the other side of it. Now, go on, you kids. Go on, sit down. Go on, play. Cut out all this war talk.
All right, man. Cheer!
Oh, hi, Hatch. What are you gaping at?
Grandpa, you must have been 7 years old when you were charging with Teddy Roosevelt.
Why, that's nothing but a detail. There was a McCoy, there was a bugler boy at 8 in the Civil War.
But the Army doesn't take soldiers that young.
Well, what does a woman know about campaigning? Suppose I was a spy. You think the enemy would ever suspect a 7-year-old boy? Just playing war like any red-blooded American boy.
But the Spanish-American War? Ain't that kind of an old war for a 10-year-old to be playing?
Well, does a war have to be new like a dress or something?
I sure felt good in front of those fellers, Grandpa. I bet you beat Teddy Roosevelt up that hill.
What was you and Teddy Roosevelt doing up on a hill?
Yeah, Grandpa, what's this all about?
Now, hold your horses. Simmer down. Simmer down. Couldn't explain it while little Luke was in the room. But you see them two little boys you're playing with there, they was sort of giving him a hard time. Seems like some of their folks has done some soldiering, you see. Now, there ain't none of us McCoys here has ever been in a real fighting war. So I give little Luke just what he needed. A real, live fighting McCoy.
Who's that?
Me, of course.
In the Spanish-American War?
Why does everybody keep saying that? It's a respectable war.
Well, yeah, but you ain't telling the truth, Grandpa.
Well, now, when a boy's in trouble, it ain't no sin to sort of give the truth a little nudge, you know.
Oh, how could you lie to little Luke, even to make him feel better?
I told you the boy needed it. I just stretched the truth a mite. Well, you seen what it done for him. You see that light shining in his eyes?
Them other boys is bound to find out the truth.
Oh, hush, Kate. Kids ain't like that. They talk about something else, football or something, and like as not, that's the last you ever hear of it.
Well, all right, Grandpa, but don't go telling little Luke he was an all-American halfback.
Well, I did play some.
Kate? Oh, I wonder where she is. I'm getting hungry.
Oh, she's probably at another one of them Veterans Day meetings. Women gab while the men starve. Now, Kate, I don't mind you going to them meetings, but us men's got to have a victuals.
Now, Grandpa, don't get any more riled than I already am after listening to what they were saying at that meeting.
Well, about what?
About Grandpa, how he was storming up San Juan Hill, cutting his way through a wall of living flesh, side by side with Teddy Roosevelt, till he was cut down by a bullet wound in his leg.
Me? Storming up a hill with Teddy Roosevelt?
That's what they said.
Cackling bunch of old hens.
Grandpa, getting mad at them ain't gonna help any. You've got to stop this story here and now.
Kate's right, Grandpa.
I can't.
What you got to?
Do you want me to tell that boy that they ain't nary a living McCoy that ever done battle? Put out that shining light in his eye. Jump the rug out from under him.
Grandpa, you worried about the rug under little Luke or under yourself?
It's hitting low, Luke. Hitting low. I'll get it. You're Captain McCoy, ain't you? Captain?
Kind of took you by surprise, didn't it? Hearing yourself called by your rightful rank after all these years. I only got up to the sergeant myself, Captain.
Put on his uniform and got me to drive him out here just so he could shake your hand, Captain.
Well, that's rightly nice of you to come by, but we're mighty busy right now, if you don't mind.
What is it, Grandpa?
Nothing, Kate, nothing.
Floyd Armbruster's the name, ma'am. And this here's my boy Vance, head of the Legion Post. I just had to come out and pay my respects to your grandpa, ma'am.
Won't you come in, both of you?
How do, Mr. Armbruster? Come on in. Come on
I
in.
serve on the Veterans Day Decorating Committee with your wife, Mr. Armbruster.
Lottie tells me you girls are really planning wonders with all that crepe paper, Mrs. McCoy.
Sit yourself down, both of you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, ma'am, but I'm still a soldier enough not to sit as long as officer is standing.
An officer?
Yeah. Now, will you kindly set yourself down?
Well, as soon as word reached the Legion Post about what you did at San Juan Hill, Poppy was bound and set on visiting you.
You know, there ain't many of us old Spanish-American war vets left, Captain.
There's even less than you think, Mr. Armbruster. I just assume you didn't call me Captain.
What modesty. Just one of the soldiers. But that figures.
It does?
Sure, living here amongst us a whole year and keeping such a glowing war record hidden.
Yeah, it must have been a tough trip. You're carrying Teddy Roosevelt on your back clean to the top of San Juan Hill. The most inspiring thing I ever heard of. What was he like, Captain?
Heavy. Not to be unnecessary. plenty, Mr. Armbruster, but we got chores that's got to be done.
Yeah, of course, Captain, of course. Well, sir, this has been a rare occasion, my visit with you, and I ain't going to forget it.
Well, he ain't likely to forget it neither.
Yeah. Oh, just one more thing.
Is there something else?
Seeing as how we're all here, we thought maybe we'd get a peek at your medals.
My medals? Guess they must have run clean out of medals. I never got mine.
But your grandson, little Luke, told my boy all about your medals in school.
Oh, this is where all that come from. There, you see?
It's not fair about your medals, and it's right that you should have them, for no man ever earned them more.
I think my grandson earned himself something, too. That story, the way he done.
I'd be proud of my grandpappy, too, if I was him. Well, we'll see at the meeting, Mr. McCoy.
Meeting? What meeting?
Why, there's only one meeting a year. The Veterans Day meeting. Imagine me sitting up on that platform alongside of you all during the service, Captain. About them medals. It's a darn shame about them, and something should be done about it.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. McCoy.
A big hero.
Now you just set yourself down there. I could have a straight talk with you.
Something wrong, Grandpa?
Now, little Luke, you know a lie. Even the little lie is wrong, don't you?
Sure, Grandpa.
Of course, the little one ain't as bad as the big one, especially if there's a reason for the little lie, which is told only to keep from making somebody miserable. You understand?
Sure. Only I don't know what you're saying.
I don't. Well, I'll try again. Now, look, you've been talking a lot of hogwash about me and this Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, maybe I did make up a little. So Billy Wells didn't believe anything. So I had to sort of tell him more things to convince him. And then all the other kids wanted to hear about you and Teddy Roosevelt, so I had to keep telling them.
Listen, Luke. It's high time you know the truth about me and the Spanish-American War. I tried 3 times to enlist in that there army. The first time, the recruiting fella told me that he said, "Son, we're all full up with soldiers today." And the second time, he said they want uniform my size.
They couldn't stop you, huh, Grandpa?
Well, the third time, you see, I wasn't taking no chances. So I went down to the railroad station and I climbed on one of them troop trains, and the head soldier fella, a fella with a walrus mustache, he took me to one side and he gave me a good talking to.
Then you told him how much you wanted to get in.
No, he told me it was just as important to have farmers as it was to have soldiers at the front. So I went back to farming. I've been there ever since.
You mean you wasn't in the war at all?
That's right, little Luke. I tried awful hard, but I just couldn't make it. You see, I wasn't but 7-year-old at the time.
You were only 7? You were littler than me?
Yeah, and scrawnier. Now, little Luke, you gotta explain this to all your friends at school and clean up this mess.
But I can't, Grandpa.
What do you mean you can't? You got to.
Well, everyone will laugh at me. I'll end up being the biggest nobody in school.
Well, if you don't tell them, you'll end up with a sorest.
Grandpa, you promised now.
Now, look, this is between me and little Luke.
Now, hold on, Grandpa. Are you expecting the boy to tell his friends that he's been lying?
Well, that's what he's been doing, ain't he?
Well, I didn't see you jump up to tell the truth when Mr. Armbruster and his son was here.
Well, that ain't exactly the same.
No, it's worse than the same. Grandpa, if I was you, instead of trying to get little Luke to straighten things out for you, I'd start thinking about what I was going to do sitting up on that platform come Veterans Day.
Grandpa, you're going to be up on that platform? Wow, that's really something.
Now, little Luke, you really think it's all right for me to go on pretending I'm a veteran?
Well, sure, Grandpa. If you don't say nothing, I won't.
Don't make me ashamed, you boy. Now, you listen to me. You're going to tell every one of them boys the unvarnished truth, else I don't want to talk to you no more.
But I can't, Grandpa. I can't.
Oh, I've been took by the miseries. All aches and twinges. I'm coming down with something.
Yeah, I figured you'd be coming down with something, this being Veterans Day.
What's one got to do with the other? Just have something to eat, Kate.
Well, sure, Grandpa. I'll fix you some dry toast and a coddled egg.
I want a mite more than that. Maybe a stack of flapjacks in 3 or 4 eggs. You wouldn't want me to starve in bed, would you?
Morning. Hey, Grandpa, you ain't dressed yet.
Look, you explain to my grandson just how bad I'm ailing.
Grandpa ain't going to the services. See, he's too sick.
Oh, gee. My whole class was looking forward to seeing you sitting up there on the platform.
Will you kindly tell him how broke up I am about disappointing his classmates?
I heard you.
I ain't talking to you, and you know why. Look, when you get to the meeting, you tell the folks how sick I am. And you tell them why I couldn't come. Luke?
No, I won't, Grandpa.
You tell him, Kate?
No, Grandpa. Me neither.
You, Hassie?
No, Grandpa. I'll tell him, Grandpa.
You will? You can't tell him. I'm still mad at you.
But, Grandpa, this is no good. Letting little Luke cover up for you, you covering up for yourself. What are you going to do next Veterans Day, and the year after that, and the year after that? You going to keep playing sick?
Grandpa, you gotta stop this now.
Please, Grandpa.
All right. I'm getting dressed, and I'm going to that meeting.
You gonna sit up on the platform, Grandpa?
I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to tell the whole dead, blasted, miserable truth and be done with it.
Oh, that's
Atta
great,
boy, Grandpa.
What about you? I didn't hear from you. You with me? Yeah, I guess it don't matter. Probably throw stones at me, but leastwise one of us Mccoys will be telling the truth.
Now that we've paid our respects to the veterans of World War I and II, I'd like to talk about a man who belongs to a war we don't think about much anymore. He's attending one of our meetings for the first time today. As a matter of fact, he's sitting right next to my own father. I imagine everyone here has heard the story that's going around about him.
Mr. Armbuster.
How he personally knew one of our late and great presidents.
Mr. Armbuster.
Yes, Mr. McCoy?
We gotta talk. You can't go no further.
Mr. McCoy, I was just...
I don't deserve your cheers. The Spanish-American War was a long time ago. Now, this is a rightly nice Veteran Day service. What I'm trying to say is, well, I'm having trouble saying it.
You can say it, Grandpa.
Little Luke.
Us McCoys gotta stick together. That's what you always say. So I figured I should stay here with you.
You figured right, boy. Now that I got my thoughts collected, I think you're all entitled to know the truth of this thing. And I'm going to give it to you plain and simple. I never was in Cuba. I wasn't in the Spanish-American War neither, and no other war. Now I'm going to take me and my family and clean all out of here and leave you decent folks to yourselves.
Hold on, Mr. McCoy. I know all about what you just told us. In fact, I was going to talk about it myself before you jumped up and interrupted me.
You know all about it?
My pa wrote the War Department in Washington to find out why you didn't get your medals. And they told us everything.
The War Department? Well, how'd they know about it?
Now, you just sit down, Mr. McCoy. And you too, little Luke. And listen. I want to read you this report from the War Department concerning Amos McCoy. It contains a letter written over 50 years ago. This morning at the train station, I met a 7-year-old boy named Amos McCoy trying to serve our cause. He had tried to enlist twice before, and now was stowing away aboard our troop train. I counseled him to return to his father's farm, where he could be of more service to us than on the fighting front.
He's talking about that fellow with the walrus mustache.
Please, Mr. McCoy. The letter continues. I believe that this simple incident illustrates better than any other the true and lasting spirit of our great nation. This young boy's actions make him just as much a hero as any man in uniform. Let his youthful patriotism be an inspiration to us all. The letter was addressed to the Secretary of War and was written by the commander of the Rough Riders, Colonel Theodore Roosevelt.
Congratulations, McCoy. Folks, I'd like to pay my respects to that grand soldier, Colonel Teddy Roosevelt, for taking time out to write a letter about a 7-year-old boy. Considering that when he put me off the train, I kicked him in the shins.